here with Josh Eisenstadt, filmmaker and writer and director of a new project called Spreading Darkness. Josh, tell us a little bit about the project that you're working on right now.
Spreading Darkness, it's a feature film, and so far we've shot about 25% of it. We're shooting on 35 millimeter, and it's my last three projects that I've directed have all been 35. It's kind of I just love it too much.
You're sticking with the analog and not going digital.
Yes, okay. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm very much in love with 35 millimeter. So, wonderful. But yeah, and we have a great cast in it. You know, Eric Roberts, John Savage, Rena Riffle, James Duvall. Really great cast, and they're all doing an amazing job.
Getting back to the fact that you are shooting this on film, which of course is a costly medium. A lot of modern folks, even David Lynch, you know, in Inland Empire, went to sort of digital.
Right.
But as a filmmaker, what is it about film is really important to you?
There's an organic quality to film. It's just the look and a feel that it has that carries with it something that I just don't find in digital. It's a certain cinematic quality, and it's something it's hard to put into words. But I mean, again, it's not, you know, that's just the way I feel about it. It's not, there's no end all be all. I mean, certain people disagree and they love working with the red, you know, and more power to them.
Yeah.
It's just personally, my personal preference is, to me, I don't think anything comes close.
Wow.
I just love and to me, it's worth a little bit of extra money, and it's definitely harder work. I mean, you don't know 100% what you have until you get it back from the lab. You know, you can't do a playback and see what you just got. And, you know, your monitors typically are pretty substandard in showing you, you know, you don't know if your shots are in focus until you get it back from the lab. There's a number of things that make me understand why people turn away from it. But at the end of the day, the final look to me is so great that it's worth all the hardships.
Wow.
You know, and of course, again, you can't really handhold or, you know, do the stuff. You have a digital camera where you can move it around, and you know, you got to have, you know, all your complicated equipment, your jibs, your dollies, your cranes, in order to really move the camera, or your Steadicam, to really move it, you know, with fluidity. But I like that, actually, and I like the fact that you have to really know what you're doing. You have to really know what shots you want. You have to really get them, because the more you shoot, the more money you're using.
Stu, I think I'm losing my mind. I'm being stalked. I hear voices late at night. I find packages on my doorstep.
Hey, it's like we're all broken, you know, and maybe that's what brought us all together.
This is our chance to make things right.
You're in some serious shit. Look at these faces. Each and every person here has been affected by you.
I have changed so much, but I'm not that man. Not anymore. Who are you? Who's doing this to me?
You want answers? Hop in.
God, you
think this is all about me?
Why'd you rip those people off? It's judgment time. Darkness spreads.
It's impossible.
All right, well, there you have it. So a little sneak peek on Spreading Darkness. Josh, so any other aspects of this project that you want to tell fans out there about so that they can kind of maybe anticipate seeing this project come to completion?
All I can say is it's going to be a crazy ride. And I'm sure, as you can see from our early teaser, you don't see too much of the story, but because we don't want to really give too much of that away yet. But it's going to be quite a ride, and quite an entertaining ride,
All right.
and very crazy and violent and mad and everything else.
All right, all right. We wouldn't expect any less from Josh, who, of course, has done other big projects like Dark Reel and worked on a lot of other projects as well.
So, do you have a name?
Scarlet May.
We have the applications for the walk-on role contest that we're doing.
I'm such a big fan.
Adam won our contest for a walk-on part.
What are you doing here?
It's Lorraine. She was attacked last night. No. She was attacked last night. It's bad.
What about the police? They found any suspects?
A psycho fanboy won a walk-on role on my film.
You got a real taste for these kind of ladies, don't you?
I'm insane.
You think that's funny?
I got mace!
You're a professional. It's metaphysical.
No, he's got us under surveillance.
Right, Josh. Well, I know right now you're looking for finishing funds for this project. And tell us a little bit more about what it's going to take to see this project to completion.
Well, we did this in an unusual way. We had enough money to start shooting, so we shot what we could with the money we had, and now we're looking for finishing funds. It's different than my last feature, where literally I got all the funding in at once. There it was for Dark Reel, the last one.
Yeah.
All the funding was there. There it was. Finished the film, got it out, done. This one we're doing, economic times and everything. We're doing it, in a slightly unorthodox manner, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that we should have this thing done hopefully by next year's festival.
All right. So, if folks out there want to spread the word or to get in touch with you, how would they do so?
I have a website right now. It's just my name, josheisenstadt.com.
Okay.
And you can get in touch with me through that. And yeah, and there's some other projects I've been working on too. I just was a producer on Rena Riffle, who I mentioned earlier. She just did a film that's actually kind of a spoof-sequel to Showgirls, which she was in.
Yeah.
There's a project that I did that's as a demo for the much bigger budget film that I want to do. Normally, I'm working right around in the $1 million range, but I have one that I want to do for $8 million that I shot an opening scene for as a demo with Dana Ashbrook.
Oh, wow.
Called Inner Balance.
Wow.
And Dana Ashbrook, who was Bobby in Twin Peaks.
Yeah, of course. And we haven't actually mentioned the Twin Peaks connection yet in this interview. But for folks who aren't aware, Josh, David Lynch is a huge influence on your work, even going back to childhood where you were a fan of Twin Peaks back in junior high.
Yeah, and Blue Velvet. Yeah.
And Blue Velvet as well. You being a David Lynch fan for many years, and that having influenced your work, and having the opportunity to work with Dana Ashbrook and these other folks, tell us what that is like for you as a filmmaker.
It's a different zone. When I'm working, I forget temporarily what anything everybody I've been working with has done.
Oh, okay.
Even just now in my newest project, working with Eric Roberts is a 2-time Oscar nominee and stuff. That doesn't. When I'm working with him, he's an actor that I'm working with, and that's it. I don't think about that stuff.
Yeah, and even like Eddie Furlong, who you've worked with too, you don't think, oh, this is John Connor from Terminator 2.
No. No, I don't let that influence anything. At that point, it actually just all kind of goes out at that point.
Wow.
Sometimes when I'm done working that day, I think, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So-and-so was in this. That's great,
Yeah.
But at the moment when you're doing it, you're just thinking of them as, they're people you're working with. They're your coworkers.
Yeah.
And, you got to work with them like you do anybody and shut off everything that came before.
Yeah. And I imagine that's a professional thing rather than turning into a fanboy and getting excited. You really have to kind of put that stuff in the back.
If you do that on a set, forget it. The second you do that,
that would be Josh's last project, probably.
That would be the end.
Okay.
Because, you have to, if you're making a movie, you want them to respect you for what you're doing. And you don't want, if you lose that, sets can go haywire. They need to know that they have to trust the director, that they have a vision, they know what they want. And if not, things can, you can have a mutiny, and then a movie's going to be a mess if you have everybody.
Then you'll be directing Plan 9 from Outer Space, where you have different actors coming in, covering their faces and trying to finish the story.
Exactly, yeah, and you can't have that, because if you have, 7, 8, 9, 10 different people steering the ship, at the end of the day, you need one person to be making the final decision.
I'm going to get your take on kind of the trends in filmmaking, whether it be consolidation of production houses, of media conglomerates, or even distribution, changes in distribution channels.
If you notice, most of what's coming out now are studio films. I mean, the days of these great, 10, 12, $15 million budget indie films, which is what we saw a lot of, and if you start naming a lot of the best films, a lot of them are those.
Oh, definitely. I mean, even for decades. I mean, the 70s, 80s, into the 90s. I mean, for decades that was the case, and now we're seeing the proliferation of remakes, and that always gets me. I mean, every time I see something, oh great, a book that's being adapted to film, or a remake of another movie that was done a decade ago.
I always say, if it's not broke, why fix it?
Yeah.
But the reason they're doing it is because they have the studios see it as less of a risk. It's not that they don't have ideas; it's that it's less of a risk to take something that has a brand name already.
Yeah.
They do a remake of, Nightmare on Elm Street or a horror film or something that everybody knows. They feel they've got a safer bet. Of course, it's not always the case, because if they don't put in the care and try to actually make a good film, and they're just, But a lot of times the passion's not there, and that's really, at the end of the day, what it's all about, And I think that I just miss a lot of those, films that you're talking about, the ones that had the money to compete, which really, you're doing a movie for $1 million. It's a lot of money, but not for a film.
Yeah, definitely.
It really, I mean, you think it is, but when you do it, you realize how constrained you are.
Yeah.
And, when you're in the $10, $15 million budget range, you really can do a lot. Yeah. And you're talking about David Lynch, a lot of his films are independent films in that range.
Yeah.
I mean, and
his challenges with the studios and things are infamous. I mean, the kind of with Dune and some of the other projects he worked that didn't.
Dune being a studio film, where, they're taking somebody that's obviously not a studio director and would not be.
Yeah.
And, a lot of there's a lot of directors, and personally all of my favorites are not that type of director. They need to really be able to do their own thing. And to me, it's sad, the idea that it's so much harder now, and that there really aren't those $10 to $15 million budget independent films really aren't happening. To me, it's a great loss, and I think we're seeing it.
Yeah.
I think when you're talking about the remakes, I think we're seeing that loss in some of the stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
And but that's not to get too negative, but that's just my thought on the current.
Yeah.
The current, where we are.
State of affairs. Well, and it gives context to the fact that Josh, as a filmmaker, you're really trying to carry the torch for kind of the visionaries that have gone before you in decades long gone.
Let's just say that they are all of those people that we're talking about are inspirations to me, obviously, and someday I'd be honored to ever be uttered anywhere near any of them,
At that echelon of
anywhere near. Halfway to that echelon would be great, but for sure.
Well, Josh, it's really evident in talking to you on camera and off camera that you are extremely passionate about your artistry, and I have no doubt that Spreading Darkness is going to be in that pantheon of projects that really does portray artistic vision and all of the great things that we just talked about.
I think it's directorially by far my best work so far. Even when I watch the rough cut, I feel it is of what we've shot. So I just I couldn't be happier with what I have so far and what I think this project will end up being.
All right. Well, there you have it. So please check out josheisenstadt.com for updates on this project.
It's not that updated right now. Actually, I don't even think I have Spreading Darkness up there yet. Okay. I actually do need to update it, but I was saying, as far as contacting me, that's probably the best way to do it, or by Facebook. Okay. I don't check Facebook that frequently, but I do.
Okay. All right.
So I am on there too. You can find me on there.
There you go. So there you have it. So folks, check out Josh's projects, both upcoming as well as his past projects like Dark Reel and others. So thanks again, Josh, for being with us.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you.
Take care.
Definitely.